I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to Afterbuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Reno 911 pre-show here on Afterbuzz TV. I'm your girl, Trina Dong, and I can't possibly talk about this show without the two biggest Reno 911 fans that there ever were. First up, we have, of course, Reno 911 fanatic and possibly the luckiest man in the world to keep meeting Reno 911 actors in these Hollywood streets, James Maple.
Yo, what is so good? I'm so freaking happy to do this show. You guys have no idea. It has been a 10-year-long obsession with the show, so I'm so excited to be talking about it with you guys.
Amazing. And of course, we cannot forget our main man, Niecy Nash's biggest fan, Elgin Ball.
What's up? I'm actually Rainisha's son, but yes, I'm a big fan of Niecy Nash.
That's my bad. That's my bad. I screwed up that intro. My bad.
No, it's good.
Guys, I am so happy that we're all here. We got a lot of stuff to cover before the show premieres on Quibi tomorrow, Monday, May 4th. We're going to be talking about why Quibi. And of course, we'll talk about the cast that's coming back, some of the cast that's not returning. We're going to tell you guys what we want to happen in the upcoming episodes. We've got some fun news for you, a little special segment to see what we can add to the new Reno 911. And yeah, that's going to be so fun. Look at these two. They're too hype. I'm too excited. Let's get into it. Guys, not that you haven't kind of already shared, but tell me how you feel being the two biggest fans. And of course, I'm a fan too, but y'all, there's no competing. Why are you so excited for the show to come back? Give me your overall thoughts on that. James, hit me.
All right, so I'm going to take off my dangle glasses to really talk to you guys. I want you to feel my love for this show. So I am so excited for this show. Like I said, I've been a fan of it for literally over 10 years. I watched it when it originally aired on Comedy Central. I'm super excited for this to come back because as a comedian and improvisist myself, this was one of literally the first show in my childhood that really made me want to get into comedy. It really pushed me and I saw, it was another moment too, to see young Black actors like Niecy Nash and Cedric Yarborough on TV doing the thing I love to do. It solidified my love for this show. So I'm so excited to see what we can find out about the characters 10 years later.
Yes. What about you, Elgin?
Man, I grew up watching this show when I wasn't supposed to be watching this show. I remember I was like 14 or 13 watching this show as a kid and literally just laughing every single time I watched it. Like I had Cartoon Networks on the backspace when you could hurry up and turn a channel because I didn't want my parents to catch me watching Reno 911, but I fell in love with this show just because of all the craziness that goes on to it. And when you're a kid, you just like when you like hearing people curse, all that good stuff. So it was just amazing. And that was one of my favorite shows to watch or sneak watch as a kid. But now I'm grown up, so I don't have to, be afraid to watch it anymore.
Now you can host a show.
Exactly.
Show
right.
I'm excited to see what adult Elgin has to say now that the show is back. See if it's the same, see if it's different. I'm mostly excited because I need new content from these characters to watch over and over. Still will watch the other stuff on repeat, but the new stuff, I'm ready. Bring it on. So let's start with Quibi. So Quibi is a new app, amazing app that has all of this different types of content. But the trick is every episode is under 10 minutes long. Now, for those of us that have short attention spans, need something to do while we find a movie, it is incredible. So what do you guys think about bringing former longer content to short form? What do you think, Elgin?
I'm kind of salty about it because I know a lot of people do like that short attention span stuff, but I'm always here for it giving me longer episodes, even if it could be an hour once. I believe Reno 911 was like 30 minutes per episode. So I really like those longer episodes because I guess I'm just interested in TV and a super fan of Reno 911. So the more I can get, the better. But I mean, I'll be satisfied with these 10 minutes. It'll be all right.
There you go. James?
So I will take Reno 911 any way I can get it. A minute, 30 seconds, free on YouTube, any way possible. So actually, I'm glad you guys mentioned this because I did a bit of research on kind of the rationale behind why they wanted to do it. It's a bit of a long quote, so I'll give it a preface, but I saw an interview with Thomas Lennon on CBS Los Angeles, and he talks about specifically why Quibi, of all things. So listen to what he says. So he says, quote, "We have always talked about doing Reno 911 more, but there's sort of a blessing and a curse to this. The blessing is everybody in the cast got so successful they have their own shows. So the curse is trying to schedule a thing and have them all together. It's tough. We talked about it for quite a while, and we finally found a scenario for that to work. It comes down to a pretty specific person, and that person is Doug Herzig. So Doug Herzig went to Quibi, and he said, basically, we want Reno 911. And then Thomas Lennon goes on, he says, we were like, okay, Quibi, but on our phones. I don't know. We thought about it. And then we were like, that's how we watch things anyway. So he says, there are 25 episodes of Reno 911 on Quibi. Keep in mind that each episode is 6 to 8 minutes in length. And the fact is, I wouldn't change it now. So this is really important. He says, I wouldn't do any episode longer than that right now. In this era, my attention span is, well, 0. Hells no, I wouldn't do it. So I thought that was super interesting because he's speaking to where we are now as a country. You know, be it only 10 years ago, it feels like it was a blink of an eye, but how we consume things has changed drastically, especially now given the quarantine. So I feel like I agree with Elgin, though a longer episode on Comedy Central or on Netflix would be amazing. I think given our current attention spans, I'll take a short little bite, a quick little nugget a day, and keep it pushing and be just as happy.
I also think there are a lot of people that love Reno 911 for the clips. So there are a lot of people that learned about it, especially now, if new clips randomly show up on Comedy Central, or maybe it's on the network and, you know, you don't have time to watch an episode, so you look it up. So I think a lot of our culture too is also clips. And I think this makes it perfect because within a time frame of a clip, you're going to get a story from beginning to end. And I love that.
Absolutely.
All right. You heard it here first. We got you, Quibi. We like you.
Yeah, we do. We do.
Okay, so moving on. We, of course, have an incredible cast. Possibly one of the best casts in comedy. We won't say for sure, but that's how some of the people in this chat feel. So let's talk about the people that are returning first. Who are some of your favorites that are coming back? Elgin? We know the answer.
We already know.
Already.
She birthed you. She's coming back. Bless. And you love the character, basically? Sums it up?
Oh, yeah. Renisha, she's just that funny, like, vulgar character that she just immediately just captures you when she's on screen. And her reactions, I think, on the show is the funniest things, too. And her little quick, witty comebacks, too. That's what I like about her the most. So, yeah, she could just have a whole spin-off show. That's just my opinion.
Every character that Niecy Nash has ever played can have their own spin-off, and we would all watch it. Absolutely. James, what about you? Who are you looking forward to?
You know, I think that the love that Elgin has for Niecy Nash stems from, I feel like when I was watching that, she was like my funny Black mom. I feel like whenever she reacted to anything, I'm like, oh my God, that's my mom calling me. Or like, that's how my mom would react. So I obviously want like my mom back on the show. So definitely Niecy Nash. If not Niecy, definitely Jones, Garcia. I'm super excited for him to come back. And Clemmy, Miss Clementine. I think that she is one of like the most standout characters on the show too. She has such a pseudo kind of like sexy vibe, and she flirts with like a lot of the cast members. So it is because it's like, don't, you know, you should never fall into that trap. But I think she does. Wendy, the actress, does an incredible job of that. She was also on the Goldbergs, the show that was just airing recently. So she's been staying busy, but I'm glad she made time to come back for Reno 911 because she was definitely one of my favorites.
Absolutely. honestly, one of my favorite actresses has always been Wendy. She brings it no matter what, all of the time, but it'll be nice to be able to watch her get to mess around. Not that she doesn't get to mess around on the Goldberg. She's amazing on that. And every other character she obviously kills, but you know, they get to play. That's improv, right? You come to play, you have a good time, you tell funny, wacky stories, and everybody is always going to love it. And then also Thomas Lennon is perhaps one of my favorite character actors. Whenever he shows up, you know it's going to be good. So that I'm so glad they're back. They've been working. Let's not get it twisted. They've been working outside of this, of course. But again, getting to see them come back and play is perhaps going to be my favorite part. Now, let's talk about the people that aren't coming back. James, you want to take it away with that one?
Yeah. So we're going into a bit more detail about one of my like secret characters that's not coming back, but a lot of the sub characters aren't coming back. A lot of like the extension characters. There was a woman named Cindy who was the boyfriend of Junior for a bit of time. We also have seen some exes from Lieutenant Dangle. His ex. It's kind of a strange triangle. It's his ex-wife, his ex-wife's ex, and his ex-wife's new husband. So these were all characters that we like. They didn't have many roles. They probably popped up in maybe 3 or 4 episodes the entire series. So unfortunately, I don't think just given the crunch of time, we won't see a lot of those like little sub characters. But we got a few surprises coming up later on. So that's what I'm thinking about.
Okay. He's gonna keep it on his non-sleeve. So whatever, James. Right? We'll learn later.
Our new segment, I'm gonna drop some bombs on y'all.
Absolutely.
That's a little tease for you.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Elgin, is there anything that you would like to tell our wonderful viewers and fans of Afterbuzz TV?
Nah, not really. Nah, I'm playing. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for rocking with us during this little quarantine time and all this craziness. But yeah, thank you guys so much for making us an ESPN of TV talk. And make sure you like and subscribe to this Afterbuzz TV and everything else that we're in. And also make sure when you're listening to us on the audio and having a fun time laughing, make sure to pop up on that 5 stars. So yeah, thank you guys for rocking with us.
Yes, absolutely. Stick with us. We got some good stuff, especially what's coming up right now, because we're about to predict what's going to happen during this season. Let's not hold back, fellas. I want to know everything that you want to see. Let's start with you, James.
Okay, so the character Weigel is absolutely insane. So she always has these like strange, like pseudo-sexual relations with Thomas Lennon's character, Lieutenant Dangle. And it's always like, they even touch on it in Reno 911, the movie, in grave detail, I might add. So if any of our viewers out there have not seen the movie, definitely watch it, because you'll learn a thing or three. But I definitely want to see Weigel's character kind of develop more and really start to interact with some of the other cast members. It's always interesting to see them have their interactions, because you start to see them develop more as a character and not just like someone who's standing there like making us laugh. And you really get a sense of them being a whole character. So in a couple of the clips that we've seen for the new season launching tomorrow, we do see those little interactions, those moments where they're sitting in the car together, like bored as hell, and they're trying to make each other laugh. Like those little things I think are great. I love the moments too because all of it is almost improv. I love the moments where they try to like break each other out of character, because a lot of times they'll leave that in the final cut. And if you look closely, you can see so-and-so kind of laughing. And so I love that, like that real moment of like comedian to comedian and them trying to break each other. So that's what I'm looking forward to in the newest season of Reno 911.
Love that. Elgin, what about you?
I'm ready to see my mom get married. I'm ready to see that. I want to see, I'm hoping Terry is in there. Hopefully he would be the owner of Taco, you know, something crazy like that. And I'm not sure. I'm just hoping that this season is going to just be as insane as I think it's going to be. So I'm just really excited.
If there is one thing I know, it's definitely going to be that. will be totally insane.
Definitely.
I can't imagine we won't get exactly what we want. All I have to say is that if the whole series is filled with drunk catwalk bits,
Yes.
I am good. I'll watch all of them over and over and over.
So good.
So good. How does it
That
not
was
get
hilarious.
old? I've honestly watched one of them at least 10 times just today. Had plenty of other things that I needed to accomplish, but no, why would you when you've got drunk catwalk on your hands?
I will
Right.
admit, when I was in college, this is like a little bit of like little story for y'all. I will admit, when I was in college, my roommates and I used to watch this show, and we would get like super drunk in our apartment, so we were safe. And then we would play that clip and try to do the dance or like the thing along with Clemmy. It was very funny. I went to college a long time ago, so unfortunately, like camera phones didn't really exist back then, so there's no footage of it. But trust and believe, your boy failed many times in the part of college.
Better off for you that we don't have the footage, but we wish that
probably.
we did. Well, I hope we get all of those things, and I'm excited to talk to everybody about them, but we've got some news, some breaking news from James that we'd like to share.
Yes. All right, I gotta put on my shades to get y'all the good news. Okay. So, as we kind of teased earlier, like I said, I got a lot of breaking news for you. Some good news and some bad news. So we're talking about some of the sub-characters who may be making their way back to the show, and some new characters who are sub-characters who are going to be joining the cast as well. So, first up is going to be everyone's favorite crazy uncle, Mr. Weird Al Yankovic. So now he is going to be in the newest season. On a tweet on April 20th, he says, and I quote him here, he says, finally, some good news in the world. After an 11-year hiatus, one of the funniest shows of all time is back. The new season of Reno 911 begins streaming on Quibi on May 4th. And then this is the headline right here. In parentheses, he says, oh, and I show up at one point as Ted Nugent. How insane is that? All right. So, a couple more people coming your way. We have Tim Allen coming to the show. So I couldn't find too much information on him, but I did find that he's going to be an Army commander to Lieutenant Dangle. So that should be interesting because now we have someone who is like above Lieutenant Dangle who can give him orders. So we'll see what happens with that. Person 3, leading to the number 4, which is the bad part. Person 3 is going to be Ron Perlman. He's joining the cast. I have no clue. I could not find any information on what role he'll be playing, but he'll be in here. He's a new cast member to join for this season.
Wait, am I confused about who Ron Perlman is?
No. Hellboy.
No, you're not.
Hellboy.
You're not.
Sons of Anarchy. Hellboy.
Okay.
He's got the glasses already from Sons of Anarchy, you know.
Okay.
Interested. Now, settle in, boys and girls. Settle in, because your boy has some breaking news, and it is not good. So, as you can see from my prop here, I am a big Terry fan. You can tell from my roller skates right here. So, everyone wanted to know, will Nick Swardson be coming back as Terry for the season of Reno 911? And the answer is no. So, in an interview recently, Nick Swardson gave some insight into specifically why he is not coming back. He says, and I'm loosely quoting him here, he says basically like the character is done. This character was something that he literally made up on the spot. It worked super, super well. Terry Bernardino, his character, was in he was the most recurring character that was outside of the main crew of Reno 911. So he had a massive following, but Nick Swardson just kind of said in a radio interview about 5 or 6 days ago that he is hanging up his skates and he will not be returning as Terry Bernardino in the new season of Reno 911.
Wait, can we just give Elgin a second? I feel like you came hard with that one and he was not prepared.
I did. Taco is closed.
Tacos is closed for business, unfortunately. You know, you might be able to find his skates hanging out in the back, but they might be empty. but they might still be back there, Elgin.
Don't you have something to show us from?
Okay. So I was gonna give you guys a little something. So, as Trina alluded to, your boy has been here in LA for some time, and I have surprisingly met a lot of the cast members of Reno 911. So one cast member that I ended up meeting at a bar here called Barney's Beanery years ago was Nick Swardson. Now I worked in a restaurant, and I am such a fan of the show, and I had another coworker who was as well, that we were like trade seasons of the show back and forth. And you throw something in your car and just kind of forget about it, and it kind of stays there. So I traded the season 4 DVD with her, and she gave it back to me, and I left it in my car. So I'm leaving the bar, and this drunk guy like bumps into me. I look over, it's freaking Nick Swardson.
No.
And so then he's like, I'm like, yo, like, what's good? So we're walking, and I finally get to my car, and I'm like, hey, we all hate doing this living in LA. We hate this. Hey, can you do me a favor, Nick? And he was like, yeah. I was like, can you sign something for me? So he was kind enough to sign this Reno 911 DVD for me. And if you can see it, it's backwards maybe for you, but it says, James Hart. Terry, with literally like 17 R's. Terry. So I ended up meeting him, and he signed my beloved season 4 copy of Reno 911.
That's amazing.
Your boy's luck doesn't end. Okay, by the time we're done with this season, wonder how many tchotchkes you'll have signed by various cast members. We have yet to find out, but I'm excited.
Well, if you tune in to our next episode, I do have another story about another cast member that I'll tell you about then. I won't say who it is, but that'll be our tease for our next episode.
All right, y'all gotta come back.
Let me find out Mama Renisha gonna come on Afterbuzz TV to talk about this.
That would be amazing.
We'll take her. We'll take her every episode, actually. That would be perfect. So we've got a fun special segment that we're gonna get into. Just curious who everyone would want to be added to this cast and take over a new character. Who is everyone's favorite actor, comedian that they would like to come through? Let's start with you, Elgin.
Well, I'm going to have my girl, Tiffany Haddish, to come on and do some comedy real quick. She can't be my mom because I already have one, but she could be like an aunt. She could be my auntie. I just feel like Tiffany Haddish brings that energy. I feel like her and Niecy Nash will definitely complement each other on that show together. I feel like that would be some super funny moments. And I feel like Tiffany would have some funny moments with Wiegler too. I feel like that would just be hilarious.
Oh God, yes.
She would take improvising to the next level. Y'all saw Girls Trip.
Right.
All of her scenes were almost guaranteed that the ones that we saw were for sure improvised, not written by anybody else. There's no way. She would take this to the next inappropriate level that we need. For certain.
Yeah, sure. Definitely
Love
need
that.
her.
What about you, James?
Okay. Now, I had to really mull over this. Y'all know I'm like a big fan of the show. So I was like, who would bring like a new dynamic to the crew? So I went with funny man, host, improvist as well. So he's got this in the back. Don Cheadle. Hear me out. So now remember, I don't know if you guys saw this, like a couple of years ago, I think it was like 2015 or so, Don Cheadle did a House of Lies improv. Did you see that?
Yes. And Ben Schwartz.
And Kristen Bell.
Yes.
Yo, like literally, when we pitched that idea to each other today, that is the first person I thought of, and that is the exact reference that I thought of was Don Cheadle during that House of Lies. His improv skills are unmatched. He would come in and literally raise the bar, and I can see him coming in as almost like a co-lieutenant to Dangle to like check him. I think that would be hilarious. So that would be my like wish list addition to the show.
Honestly, that improv special changed. It's because of Ben Schwartz and his takeover at UCB, and that he stayed in the game and kept working, and he brought that to TV. He showed people, you know, what improv is actually all about in LA. We see people like Don Cheadle. Now we want him to be on Reno 911. Let's make that full circle. Somebody send an email. James,
please, please, Mr. Cheadle, please.
Please. And I want to add a little sass, a little crass, a little everything. And I want to bring Ali Wong into this game.
Oh, we stand.
Break the news that you're on the show.
Just saying.
Come through. So, guys, that is it for our Reno 911 pre-show. Filling you in a little bit, we will be on next Sunday at 7 p.m. for our next show. So we'll be covering episodes, what is that? 1 through
I think
8, 7, 8?
7, 8, something like that.
Yes, you guys can watch the first 3 episodes tomorrow on Quibi, and then they'll come out daily after that. So we'll be covering a bulk of them. And we're so excited. Look, James keeps shimmying. He can't stop. James,
I love the show so much.
Tell the viewers where they can find you.
Wait, if I'm gonna do it, I gotta do it right.
Okay.
Okay. Pull over. And if you want to follow your boy, so you can follow me at online on Instagram at Terrell James Maple. You can follow me on Twitter at James Maple Actor. Also check out the Vagrant Queen After Show. I do that at 3 o'clock on Sundays. And also these lovely hosts next to me are also writers. So we do a lot of articles for AfterBuzz TV as well. So look out for these 3 names in your next editorial.
Love. Elgin, where can the people find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram at Elgin_22 and on Twitter at Elgin_ball. And then you guys can also find me on Love and Hip Hop, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Black Twitter, and Defending Jacob on Apple TV. So yeah.
Amazing. And y'all can find me at Hey Trina Dong on Twitter and Instagram. I'm new to the TikTok game, but give me a follow there at Trina Dong. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We will see you on the next Reno 911 After Show. Bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.